Hello out there, my fellow educators. I'm Famali Cummings and I'm an instructional coach. Today, we're going to talk about how you can be efficient at closing out your current school year while preparing for the next year. I'm going to call this series Ready, Set, Next. All right, so as most of you know, as instructional coaches and educators in general, we're constantly thinking of how to improve upon our craft, how to be more efficient, effective, and impactful. One of the things that I implemented this year was having a sticky note board that was accessible to the ILT team. It was a bulletin board where instructional leadership team members could come and add sticky notes of things that they wanted to see implemented in the upcoming year, things that we needed to discuss. And I opened it up not just to myself, but to other instructional leaders because sometimes it's helpful to see what they're thinking, why they're thinking what they're thinking, and a lot of times to just have the opportunity to swap ideas because ideas come from various places. And just because something might be great for the K2 world doesn't mean it won't work with some adjustment for the 3-5 world. And so this sticky board was accessible to all and it just grew. So what I do is I organize it by sticky notes, things that have common themes, things that I can implement in one way or have an idea about. And I go ahead and look at those concepts, look at those ideas, and they drive my summer work, what I'm working on throughout the summer to ensure that my year runs as smoothly as possible the next year. Something that I love about education and teaching is there's always going to be something new. You're always going to learn something new. You're always going to have to implement something new. But the things that you can kind of put in place ahead of time will help for a smooth school year. Most of us know that. So today in this part of the series, we're going to be talking about prepping your electronic space. Now, I'm closing out the school year this year and preparing for next year. So basically, all I'm doing is going in and decluttering some of my files, condensing them, getting rid of things. We have a new curriculum coming next year, so I won't be using the current curriculum for English language arts. And so kind of maybe keeping hold of some of those things so that in case I'm asked to do any projects throughout the county that involve that particular curriculum, I have access, but kind of getting rid of some of the things that I no longer need to have access to. Some other things that I might do is look at organizing my files based on classroom management concepts and ideas versus strong curriculum things. And so I'm going to kind of give you an inside look of some of the things that I'm planning to do. Again, I am a lifelong learner. If you have suggestions on how to make things easier, more efficient, you want to share some of the systems that you use, please feel free to drop your ideas in the comment section. Let's keep it positive though. All right, let's get into it. All right, so I kind of already started. My document folder was completely littered with things that I had just saved randomly and didn't really necessarily have a place for. So my goal in the upcoming year is to really create a very simplistic, easy way to save documents so that I can get a hold of them quickly and so that my electronic space is not cluttered and all over the place. This is what my document folder originally looked like with just things everywhere. Basically, all I'm doing is going folder by folder. I'll start with my old MCL folder. My school was doing American Reading Company, so I have materials and different things like that that I could use for American Reading Company. What items are going to be beneficial for me to keep? What items did I create, but later on maybe found out that there's a tool for this with ARC or there's a better way of doing that? With those items, of course, I'm going to delete. The items that are timeless and I can use in the future at any school that is using American Reading Company, I may decide to keep those items. Also, now that I'm more familiar with the schedule and things that are important to the job, I know what folders how to categorize what I do and what folders are most needed. So basically what I'm going to be doing initially is cleaning out and finding a space for all of my documents and then going in and creating a functional space for me to operate within next year and in some ways in finishing out this year. So after quite a bit of time, this is what my new documents folder looks like. It's been reduced drastically. I will probably go in and do pictures and videos at a later time, but let's go and see some of the work that has been done. So I'm on the instructional leadership team. So basically, I went through that long list of documents. Anything that I felt like would be pertinent or helpful for the instructional team to have or review, or something that I feel like I could contribute to the instructional team, or something that was on my sticky note bulletin board to kind of talk about or discuss that would be helpful. I placed it in my ILT folder. The next one was the MCL folder. So these are all of the things that are kind of pertinent to my duties. Having classroom management resources, ELA resources, logistics and planning and scheduling. That's more for me this summer to kind of say, okay, these are things I want to documents that I want to review to see if they'll even be helpful, if these are things that I need to continue with, and narrow some of this stuff down. So this is kind of like a working folder for me. Of course, math, parent teacher conferences, resources that we have for that. Any PLC agendas that I've created are located here. And eventually I will do a 2020, 2021 folder to separate the last year and this year. And any science and social studies resources that I have. So all of that is pertinent to my current position as an instructional coach. The next thing, I'm also a professional development coordinator here. And so I keep up with the teachers' professional development documents to ensure that they took or have proof that they took professional development. So those items are here, and anything that I need to create courses or have needed in the past to create courses. So I have those things there. And then finally, as you can see, I'm being called to a meeting, but finally, I have my personal folder that is named for me. So this is anything that I've done extracurricular and maybe even been paid for, professional development for the county. This is my personal record that I keep of the professional developments that I've taken. And then this is anything that's contributing to my personal growth as an educator or just personally. I try not to keep too many personal documents on my work folder, but I do have some that are pertinent. So I put them there. So that is some of the work. My next steps will be to go in and kind of narrow down some of these other folders, particularly my logistics and planning scheduling folder, um, and any other of the other sections, like I said, the PLC areas, and kind of make those a little bit more neat and tidy. All right, so you got the opportunity to kind of see how I prep my electronic space for the next year. Just clearing out things that I didn't really need that have been sitting there for a while, and kind of creating a folder that is a working folder of documents that I kind of want to review to see if they're still pertinent, to see if there are things that I'm still going to use or be able to use next year with the new curriculum, or be able to use next year, period, with my teachers. A lot of times, education is a reflective practice. And so I'll go and look and see, is this even something that worked with my teachers? Is it worth keeping and tweaking, or is it something that I just want to get rid of and was not received well at all? Well, I hope that was helpful, maybe inspired you to get motivated to start cleaning out your electronic space and prepping your electronic space for next year, or maybe even turn on a light bulb of how you can start preparing for next year as you close out this year. Thank you once again for your time. And again, if you have any suggestions, we are lifelong learners here on this channel. Feel free to put them in the comments below. Thanks, fellow educators, and I'll see you next time.